Hello hatchlings, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be reading some poems that I wrote a really long time ago that I wanted to turn into an actual book. Um, Now I think now is probably the best time to share them um, on the internet with everyone to hear it. But you know what? If you all enjoy it and you're all interested in seeing it actually become something of a poetry book, let me know. I think I was about 13 when I started writing these poems, and I would say from the ages 13 to 19 is roughly around the ages of when these poems got written. Say latest poems age about 20, 21, I would say. So without further ado, I'm actually gonna start reading them. Life, Death, and Poetry, An Emo Kid's Plight, Part 1 by, and it has my old name on there, Marlene Purcell, but I've changed my name to Marshall Purcell, so that'll definitely have to change. Dedicated to my friends, you've always been there for me, so I'll be there for you. Note from the writer. I've never been a poetry writer because I've never thought my work good enough. Even when I write books, I have so much trouble finishing them because I don't know what to say, or I think I have made it bad. I only hope that I'm able to publish something of mine, let alone finish it if possible. My poems are expressions of my struggle and other times in life. I only hope they are good enough and that one day somebody else will enjoy them as much as my friends. I would have written these between the ages of 13 and 19. I've never really studied poetry or writing for that matter, and only now learning about the different poems I still think myself an amateur. But for me to write these without experience isn't too bad. I'm quite a drama queen and flamboyant, but at the same time I'm probably one of the shyest people you'll ever meet. My passion is art, and without it I wouldn't be able to express myself without people judging my constant movements. I understand, yes, that I am different, but I am human, and I break just as easy as the next person. So I need that freedom to express my innermost thoughts at the time. I hope you enjoy my poetry. From Marshall Purcell. Life, Death, and Poetry in Emo Kids Plight Part 1 by Marshall Purcell. A friend. A friend is someone who looks after you, even if times are bad. They make you feel oh so happy when you're feeling sad. They make you laugh, they make you cry, and they can always trust you, even when they lie. They stick up for you and make years fly. But when they leave, it's like you've gone and died. It hurts and hurts, but the pain won't go away. You're pleading for them to stay, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. Life can be hard, even when you lose a friend, but you need to move on. And remember the things you learned. These are the important things you earned. It's just being a friend until the very end. Wound. The liquid travels down, blood, my wound, my own heart, as it flows like a flood, then slowly merging with the mud. I've been painted, a black and white image, all the colors are tainted by the blindness of love. I look around my shoulder to find my wound is healed, as it only makes me older. The girl across the field. I waited oh so long, but the girl cries out. The piercing, sirening song. I lonely, run from her, but I cannot run away. I push and pull, only to find she wants me to stay. My fate embedded into me. Exams. The class is silent, still. They work their brains, and try so hard to get up that hill. The teachers glare and make sure no one cheats. They brush past all the children's hair. We all stare at the clock. We wish to get out. And this is not fair. There have been deaths as we are pushed too hard, just so we can study for those stupid tests. Lives are lost for them grueling tests that we were pushing to do at all costs. But we are still here and suffer our fate, waiting to go home to the loved ones near. Rock. I am a rock. I am solid, as if hard to move, and just lay beneath the stars, waiting for my chance to come when I can move again. Murder. Beneath the red-hot sun lies scarlet red sand with a murder weapon held in each hand. The person weightless and evaporating, the murderer laughing, his eyes aging. The crime scene is full, the murderer caught, the victim lay dead, their face distraught. Battle. I stand next to a statue. Teardrops lay hung in its eyes. I stand beside it and begin to cry. The war is over, the battle fought. My fear's over, or so I thought. England. I have a home over near, but yet it is so far from here. The cold is embedded in so deep. My heart tired, it wants to sleep. Yet where I live, it is so warm, and stays that way from dusk to dawn. But yet I shiver and I quake. The country inside begins to wake. I wish to go where my family knows. A small country that always snows. It's part of me inside, and it's something I can't deny. Growing. Road is trekking far, and we, growing apart. The sun red as dirt. Our pain, yes it hurt. The green is so brittle. Love, starting to whittle. White is in the road. The desert, my home. There is a place. There is a place in my heart where I constantly goes. A place where I laugh, a place where it snows. I run away from trouble, and yet away from strife. Yet it is so humble, possibly a part of my life. I never give up, I never say die. Even when life sucks, I can't just whine. Maybe it's my own peace, maybe I've stopped breathing. I can't feel that heat, I am just healing. No, I'm not dead, but neither alive. I'm somewhere in between, I'm on the other side. Anonymous. You were gone, but somehow haven't left. You're in my eyes, dead and cold, and give me happy and sad images. My thoughts haunted, yet are at peace. I know where you are, why you left, and why you've gone. It is misery but bliss, it is sad, but keeps me company. I truly understand now who I have become, so I will love you, as you gave me feeling, and misery to keep it company. Yes, I love you, forever always, me. Lost. Teardrops falling helplessly onto the ground, and as I sit, I drown in my sorrow, and bleed as my heart is torn. The peace is lost, missing, only one to remain in me. That makes me remember, I am so cold and lost. I shall never forget my pain fully, or shall my heart heal back. But I only hope I live again, and make this feeling go away. sentenced. It is a beautiful clear skies, but yet not to me in my eyes. The wind runs and cries over the hills as winds. Nothing else is affected, my tears not noticed or detected, as I stand alone, rejected, my fate sentenced. You and me. Do you see your heart bleed? Do you see the darkness, or your love recede of the unhappiness? I do not feel your smile. I do not feel your pain. To drive a half a smile, to do it all in vain. My love is but a burden that you don't understand. My heart is clearly hurting. I hold it in my hand. I am but a thought of death. Do you see it where I go? You can feel it in my breath. Does it honestly not show? The knife you hold is broken. Your tears are to the lost. Yet my head is shaken with a great deal of cost. You wear a constant black, as so do I wear it too. Your love is of a lack, but not mine to you. There I see you, but where did you go? Through the morning dew or through the winter snow? You were gone or lost, but yet not I, as I sealed my heart with frost, and it will surely die. My murdered self lay there, in the middle of the road, as I did not truly care my emotions to implode. Then you return, with misery on face, lie there and burn, our bodies, not a trace. Now we are here together, as we should truly be, love forbidden as ever, just us, you and me. Ignorance. It is dark and cold world, where no one seems to listen at the answers screaming at them. They take no notice of us, or notice what we do. We are invisible, treated like shit. When will these people learn the oppression they give to hunt, torture the being of us? I only hope they see one day of what they have done, killing us inside. The ignorance has hurt and ruined the world, making us die. My friend is to the lost. She never knew of this hurt, but received it aplenty. Now she is gone to dark, and the fault being theirs, or being ours. Please stop this cruelty. Can you not see? This is something we do not need. Life or death. Death comes to us with ease. Life is much harder to seize. We go towards the light, from a great distance or height. We say it is easy to choose. What if it is wrong? Then we lose. Pressure is turned on us, and they all make a fuss. Why should we be treated so? I don't think anyone will know. But if you did, would it stop? Or would we still get the call? What's the difference from a grave and the life you gave? If not, how do we tell? Or is there no heaven or hell? Let me make one thing clear. This is forever in my ear. Are we going somewhere or nowhere? Emptiness is a part of me, yet no one tends to see. It's 'cause I do not care, and now nothing is fair. Dead to be. I am filled with emptiness, and the heartless cold that escapes the happiness with bitter cold. I hold in hand a knife that will take away my pain, and along with it my life. Death in wake, and heed my words, as famine this evil curse. I am but dead, and dead to be, my life a thread, and empathy. Life, death, and poetry. I am not what others think of me, what they tend to see on the outside and cannot see what I truly be. My intelligence held on the inside. I am not stupid soul that is constantly dumb or ignorant of what you people believe, but in fact I am rather smart and see what others perceive. But I am sad at what you people do and how you abuse me like an animal. It hurts inside, as it always knew, and you're making me into something frail. I do have a choice, and that is so, to live or die, or to make poetry. And that way, you will truly know of what I really feel inside of me. Life. Well, it's a hard choice, as many teens know, of the things we voice and the things we show, yet no one seems to care and tend to look away. But we have smart things to share, or begone a day, death, an easier thing to do. But then what of those behind, and those of whom we knew? Will they be pushed aside? Poetry, a much hard thing to write, and to put feelings on paper, but it is for those with sight, and to savor. But what of them, when our emotions go, or when they still don't listen to the black print? Or maybe that's hope for a new start with ink. Gun. I play music and have lots of fun, but that's soon over when I pull out my gun. Bang bang goes the gun. The bullets go past, flying extremely and repetitively fast. Spoken. I am unhappy and miserable, mentally attacked by the people I love. I bleed and hurt at words are spoken, leaving my heart twisted and broken, with a cold and empty feeling left at the things people have said. It changes a person, makes them different from others, but that's if they survive from the cold hate we, or us, receive. Dragon. I am a dragon. I am feared, but also respected. I am old, and I am wise. I use fire, but if used wrong, then I burn people, but if used correctly, then I help people. I can fly, and the wind turns as I do, but it is also against me. I roar, and people tremble at my wake, but are stunned at my beauty. My claws cause pain and hurt those in my way, but are of good use to me. I have horns, and I fear they could damage the ones I love. I am meant to be evil and a dark creature, but I have a heart and feelings that go with it. Am I really a dragon? A monster in nightmares? Because I am different, I have a soul and an equal mind. But maybe this is a dragon. Maybe we are meant to help, because we are keepers of peace and war, and the dark and the light. We could be more or less, but no one can be the same, or be their age, because mine is 1,000. And I doubt anyone or anything could understand a dragon's mind and place the world in their own care. It is a dragon, dragons, who can do all of this.
To slavery throughout this fortress. I should try and free as many as I can.
My beekeeper. I am but a humble bee, who flies near and far, way beyond the trees. I fly for my beekeeper, who's gone far away. They, now a dreamer. I buzz slowly to the stand, and give out a speech. My tears in my hands. My keeper has gone, who looked after my house, whose face always shone. Bye-bye, my humble friend. I will always buzz for you until the very end. I am but standing. I am but standing on the edge of the very pinnacle of life. I take a step forward and get more closer to death. But if I step back, I fall into a pit of lies and drown myself in despair. I hold onto the edge and try not to fall as I ease my way forward across the gap that pulls me closer. I am frightened and frustrated that I can't get my head past the obstacles. That is when I look down. I grab the cliff face and hope that it is a steady support, but something tells me that it won't last long, and that I will face the hole and eventually fall. But when I do, I hope I am ready and more prepared for it, so that I don't get sucked in and washed away. I hold my breath. I'm walking into the dark wilderness, the stars lighting the way as I go. I tread slowly and carefully, away from the rock below. I'm frightened and scared, and I feel really confused as I walk aimlessly alone, not knowing which path to choose. I hold my breath and look my way up to the sky and see the bright stars wandering high. I hope they will show me the way to go, or I will spend the rest of my time alone. Visions of my past. Life is something that most take for granted, but for me, it is something I hold dear. What I remember from my life is sad. I have flashbacks and see the visions of my past. I've been beaten and abused and never known love, and have seen what no other child should see or go through.
Get his attention elsewhere.
I have felt pain, I miss belonging, and have become wise beyond disbelief. I hold it in my own hands, the choice of staying and suffering my fate, or slowly dying on the inside, or I could choose to leave early and have everything, peace and happiness. But is it really my choice to decide what becomes of me in my life? Is it truly the end of everything I once knew whole? Is it really my life, which is slowly fading away? Or am I overreacting, like I have in my past? But where are we really meant to live? Or are we meant to die in the end? Helpless. Someone is gone, and you're feeling quite alone. Something is wrong, and that is clearly shown. But if I can't say sorry, then what do I say then? That they went in the lorry, and they are dead? If I can't give comfort, and I can't give joy, what can I give in some sort? Or would that annoy? What do you want me to do? Because this isn't any help, and I'm trying it for you. There's nothing for myself. I want to run away now. I was too late for it. I scream, and there is no sound, not even a drip. You have gone. Every single inch, every star that shone, to every glittering pinch. It is too hard to bear, too hard to fight. They snigger and sneer as I try for my life. It hasn't gone away. No, it never will. It will always stay, even ever it's still. As I sleep and wake and toss and turn, I think of your face, and I helplessly burn. I cry and shudder in another's arms, their voice like thunder, and wondrous charms. Is it you again? And I am too. This never said. To me, to you. Wear it all for me. Fire upon thine eyes and lips doth it grow, from thine summer rose hips to winter-filled snow. It is but a burden, you see. Yes, harsh, for it certain. Were it all for precarious me, I may have letteth thee go, but of it course thine would never have known. If I told thee remorse, it is but harsh. If I told thee the truth, would thine have much, but of it no use? For it is not what if you need, for thine soul, thou shalt makest thee see, thine and thee are but one, which maketh thee whole, and maketh thee understand, for it thee cannot be alone, but thine can. But without thine, thee may not exist. Thine tell of this, so that thee can walketh on thine 2 feet, without for its help, for thine is also a monster, for it also a carer, for thee must run away, for it can but learn to stayeth too amidst thee confusion. Will thee truly understand that thou is thee, and thee is thine, and thou walketh together under the moonlit shine? She sits alone. She sits alone as a stranger comes from behind. She turns her head slowly, and he smiles at her grimaced face. He tells her that it will be all over soon, and you'll be happy again. As she huffs at his cheerful remark, he puts her back and holds her hand. As he lifts her off the muddy ground, he says, "Don't feel bad, and you will find your way." She is stunned at what he has said and stutters, trying to get the words correctly out. "Thank you?" As she smiles back, his face filled with greed. He turns and walks slowly into the distance. In the young girl's eyes, she is happy that he helped her and gave her clues for the way, or she'd have been lost, the ground where she stay. In my heart. In my heart is where the shine does grow, a staggering dart in where my feelings show. It is shown in my eyes, the light so bright, it is hard to disguise, and it is seen through your sight. You can also read it as I drew it on paper, the wording bit as it sunk in letter. You try to stop me if you can, but it's my choice. It's who I am. Knoweth me not. Thou dost not knoweth me, for if thou did, thou would be able to see, but thou is blind, and thee is but heartless, and thine self is hard to find. Thou dost not see the beauty in winter. What thou dost see is a burning fire from a small cinder. Thine self turns my gaze from thou's evil eyes, and turns the mist into a haze. Thou's coldness goeth through me, and freezes thine very soul, and thou, heartless, would surely need. Thou is but a ripping time, a vortex, a portal, which claims to be divine. But if thou pure, then thou be not evil nor obscure. Thou art not hard to writeth of, for thou is not complex as I, the wording from above. Thou the pigeon be like and aggressive, born from hatred and not solitude, and thine self becometh obscure in changing your ways, but it be hopeless. Thou will never change, and thou dost not knoweth me, because thou is too blind to see that in every waking moment I cry in silence and plead. The ocean. The ocean, in its vast wave, it crashes, sending out wondrous blue, and it sprays and splashes onto the birds that flew. It looks angry or upset, its face changing to frowns, as it tries to protest the rain coming down. Then suddenly it jolts, and unprecedentedly moves away from the jagged lightning bolts coming its way. It roars, a loud scream, and becomes wild and untamed. It is not all calm, as the blue is not the same, but then it stops, the tantrum is over. The waves begin to drop in a slowing, calming sober. Nothing attacks it now, nothing in the way. No more thunder. How? It was not meant to stay. A violent act. A psychotic twinge of laughter, and an impatient stare, as one waits for another to make the first move. It is still and empty, and the cold is like ice, freezing those in place, as if time was standing still. One raises their arms and tries to defend, as the other attacks, an evil gleam in eye. It is all over in a flash, as the other walks away, leaving the victim stung, as they live no more. A violent act of murder. Oh, if only it were so. No evidence, no trace. The case? 'Twas left alone. I am caught. It is still, calm, slow and easy breeze. It is so peaceful, so distant, so at ease. I walk so slow, as if I'm in a dream, a humming in my head, unheard, unseen. I'm somehow alive, somehow awake, but it feels so surreal, like it's a stake. I do not know, or what the pace I feel. Is it the peace I long, the peace I steal? The one thing that is so cheerful, so great for me, I can also be fearful. I walk away alone, feeling oh so afraid, and cower and weep. As I am not all that brave, how could I love the peace that I devour, the sweet so bitter, and untimely sour, was so good before, now it's not, for I fear that may be, I am caught in my spot. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to me. I'm turning old, you see. Happy birthday to me, who's almost 17. The room. There is silent stillness, apart from the weeping, which is coming from a dark room in the middle of the night, as a raining and howling, as dead branches tap on windows, trying to let themselves in. Shadows are cast, black as they are, from the moonlight and candles which are kept in a jar. The person who weeps rocks back and forth, holding knees to chest, head rested low. The door slowly creaks open, and the cold air seeps through, filling the air with strangeness and a chilling ice cold. A person who weeps lifts her head up and sees the emptiness that is filling the room. She holds her head and looks at it in fear and disgust. It is red, of which is hanging on her dress. It drips slowly on the floor, merging with the fallen tears, hitting the wooden floors, moving closer to the knife. She is pain, not just physically but mentally, and the sound of it is being drowned out. By thunder and rain, the howls become louder within each painful scream. She is slowly dying, not heard nor seen. Mirrors and glass are shattered and give a distorted image from a distorted scene. Black and white. Imagine it is black and white. Imagine only the color. It is the color of blood, strung across the floor. Imagine you've just seen a murder. Imagine you're hiding, keeping quiet behind a door, wishing you weren't there anymore. Imagine the sirens ringing. Imagine they scare you as you hold your breath and close your eyes. Imagine the police coming. Imagine they blame you and take you away, covering the body in vain. You realize now that it is, and can only be, a nightmare, only one that you do not wake from. You cry and cry as you scream the murderer's name, trying to explain that you did nothing. But no, they do not find the man of which you speak, and it becomes the beginning of the end. The garden. Gardens, roses, and daffodils too, of lilies and tulips, all covered in you, of browns and greens and yellows and blues, of robins and bluebirds that all come in twos, of anger and hatred and murderous vow, of teardrops and blood left squished in the ground. Yes, gardens of depression and sadness alike, a sense of false happiness and too avid pride. Sound so happy, sound so contrite, of everything wonderful, so full of delight. There is no garden, how could it be? Such evil was done at its willow tree. Its rivers contained such poisonous goo, flowing with blood and its bodies too. They were careless and blind to see its own fault, the garden unkind, it too revolt. How could it be, the wondrous garden, how could it be? I beg of your pardon. I do not know, I fear it is true. This garden's a garden, is all I knew. Gardens of roses and daffodils too, of lilies and tulips all covered in you, of browns and greens and yellows and blues, of robins and bluebirds that all come in twos. Candle. A candle burns and leaves a flicker of light in the midst of the night. It creates shadows and objects, which are hallucinative in my eyes. It grows slowly darker, as the flame hits the melted wax. As it dims, it hides the obvious truth, which will not be revealed till morning, when black and white fade, hoarse leaving in distance, their howls and echo. As the carriage moves away from an olden day view, the lamps are blown out, as gusts of wind make trees shiver, and I too. I slowly become distant, faded, as I creep slowly from wake into eternal sleep, which will bid me forever where I lay. A candle burns in the midst of the night. Do not remember. A dark fog outside clogs in my memory, and I start to lose sight of the things in my head. I can't remember. No, I simply can't. And I'm working overtime to remember the simple things. I'm so sleepy, so tired, and I slowly fade into the clouds above. I do not wake. I cannot wake. The view in my eyes, an endless black. Complex. It's so happy outside. Just read it on my face. Ominous figure hide far away in a place. There is no evidence, I do not think. Something perplexed, or even a kink. It is complex. Do not try to understand. It is nothing, I guess. And it's caught in the sand. You are you, and no one else. If you change, I will die, and it will break my heart. But if you stay the same and love me forever, then I will be happy. That is all I want from you. That is all I require. For you to be yourself, and no one else. To make me happy and feel loved. It is people's choices that make them who they are. The things they decide and the things they refuse. We can change ourselves, but only if we try and are willing to accept the change. Everyone may hear this from the person to person, but it really is good to be different, unique. If we weren't, we would be boring and the same, and that would just suck. Soon, soon shall I go, but not yet, for then evil would win. Music. It is not always about the best song, but the emotions and the story the creator is trying to give. Money. It is but an object that gives you your wants, needs, and desires. Without it, we would not be able to obtain those things. Confusion is something we don't take lightly, and we try ever so hard to get it to a perfect state of mind. But it is not knowing we should sometimes keep, because some things can't be explained. Words are powerful, that's why we communicate with each other and acquire those around us. But if it is used for evil and for spite, they hurt people and they lose their courage and happiness. Time will only tell if we're sane or insane, but in the end, we all end up a little bit psycho. Don't take for granted the years you have as a child. There are only few of them, and it's only the time that you are being your true self. Imagination and creativity is what we eventually lose, but if you stay a child at heart, it is all not lost. When you take my music away from me, you take my heart. When you call it shit, you take my soul with it. What I did is I put some things that I would say at the end of the book as little quotation marks of things that I personally said. So the things at the very end of that whole thing were quotes that I read, that I wrote down on the end of that particular half of the book. There is another half of the book to go, but I think I will read a separate poem that I will eventually put into that whole thing, or maybe even a story that I wrote, but I'll put that in the end here. Story of the Devil's Son. Beautifully tragic. A long time ago, there was a demon who was a son of Lucifer. Unlike his father, he was more passionate and would sing hymns for the other demons. Often his songs were used to lure humans to hell, to let them burn an eternity. One night the demon heard a faint harp song. Mesmerized, he walked towards the music and looked up the sky to see the daughter of Elaha praying. He started to sing the beautiful goddess through her harp song. Curious, the daughter looked down to see who was hymning, but fell from where she sat, losing her wings in the process. She could not return to heaven without her wings, and if her father knew she had fallen to the song of the Devil's Son, she would be eternally punished. Each searched for the wings. After a few hours, the son found the wings and handed them back to her, knowing if he didn't, he couldn't hear her play her harp. She stayed for a while, with the demon getting to know each other. Each night, she would fly down and the two would talk, but one of Elaha's guards caught the two and raced off in a panic to tell him. When the goddess returned home, she found her father alone, disappointed and greatly angered. Elaha demanded his own daughter to walk an eternity on earth as a human alone. When Lucifer's son heard about this travesty, he went to his father and asked him a favor. He wished to be turned into a human as well, so that he may be with her, so that she wouldn't be so alone. His father granted the wish, but on one condition, that he forget the memories of her. If he truly loved her, he would be able to find her. And so he was turned into a human, to forever walk the earth, looking for his princess. A monster's son. Bleached Love by Marshall Purcell. In the end, I'm a monster's son, a lonely boy with no life to love. Head after heart leave pitches in stains, and bodied in corpses my earthly remains. Said sad words and bad words and horrors and lies, been beaten and battered and held in my ties. The chains and ropes can tell you no lies. I'm a fucking nightmare baby in bloody disguise. But what's not to love about this demon you see? When your life in my hands, the devil I'll be. Got a knife to my throat and a gun to my chest. Have a pocket full of pills to make me my best. I've seen angels and demons fall from the sky, and it's still extremely hard to tell you goodbye. But the words that I say and the words that I mean, I'm afraid are quite broken and torn from the seams. With a needle-like tongue, I pierce through a heart, hoping to sew ours together till death do us part. But the thread became worn and melted from poison. It was my horrors that had caused this distortion. With sharp claws, I picked at it more and more, not realizing that all this blood, all this gore, had come from your hands, had come from my claws, and the vice-like grip suddenly became no more. I had held too tightly and crushed the flesh beneath, and kind words once said became bared to the teeth. When I had looked in the mirror, it was all too late. You had crawled from beneath me and made an escape. And the chains I once held you in, I crushed in my hand, because the freedom you wanted, I could understand. I had caused enough pain, said enough lies, that you no longer believed me and severed our ties. When I tried approaching waters, when I finally knew, the tides turned quickly, and in crushing waves they flew. My body flung around like a rag doll. Under it went, but it was nothing compared to the life you had spent. My tears became a river, my guilt became the sea. It was letting all angels and demons drown me. And I wanted you to help, how I wanted you to turn around. But think you knew too, if you held my hand, you would drown. I didn't want to let go, and I can't bear to see you leave. But far away from me is the very thing you need. And I'm tossing and turning with worry and strife. In the back of my brain, I know I owe you my life, but I cannot give you what you need when I consume every fiber of your being. I was causing your doom, and I think the only way I can now give you my life is if I let go of what is and walk the path that is right. I am no longer your forever. I am no longer your saint, because I cannot be one. If a devil's son is my fate, I've tried to peel off my skin and lay waste to all I am, but in the end I cannot kill what I don't understand. I try to change my ways and learn the right, but in the end I caused more bickering, a fight. And so now maybe I think that I was never meant for you, that somebody else is your forever, and a love anew. And I look in the mirror, and black shadows I see. This monster I am, I think is still consuming me. But maybe one day I can make my own light and lay waste to all my creatures in the night. I think when I sewed our hearts together, mine stuck to you, and I've tried pulling it back, but this little string won't do. I can still feel a beating in my chest, a heart that simply just won't rest, and I'm terrified to cut the last piece of string, because if I do, what are the things it will bring? I don't want to remember, but I don't want to forget. The things that you taught me, I'm forever in debt. I can hear the screaming, I can hear the cries, and I see the death that I bring when I tell you these lies. And I can still hear the shaking of your voice, the one filled with pain without choice. I realize now the curse that I had wrought, and a wave of guilt leaves me distraught. Those words hit my heart like a knife. I had been a burden most of this life. I feel every inch of you rip into my flesh as you pierced and ravaged your chest. Because you cut me out to cut out my heart, you had to cut into yourself to cut it apart. Honestly, I think that I may be dead, but I still hear a beating heart in my head. And I've cried so much that my brain could explode because I let out our dear love. I let it erode. Because in the end, I'm a monster's son, a lonely boy with no life to love. Have my head and my heart leave bleached tears stains, and bodied in corpses my earthly remains. Little poems. When you're tired, I'll give you comfort, I'll give you kisses, even when you're asleep. I'll watch over you in the most innocent way and look after you with all of my heart. I'll carry all your burdens, you can place them all on me. I'll hold you close, and I'll let you breathe. I'll rub your back and your head, even when you're not stressed. And I'll give you breakfast in bed and try not to burn the kitchen down. I'll be the rock you can turn to when you need help. I'll always do my best for you and give you support. I promise to hold your hand tight and kiss the skin that covers you. And I'd claw my way through hell to find you, make you queen. I'd sell my soul if it gets you to heaven, unless you don't want to go there. Then you can wish for the world, and I'd sell it for you. I may not be good at words, but you will see it in my eyes that I love you more than what is, and I'll stay for as long as you'll have me. I may not be perfect, but I'll always try for you, because I do everything 1,000 times over until it was perfect for you. I want to spoil you and give you the little things you want. I may be poor, but I would always give it to you if you asked. I cannot promise there won't be any fights, as I don't know what the future holds, but I do know you're always right, and I wouldn't argue with you. You're more than perfect, above and beyond, and I'd gladly give myself for you. I'm already yours. I give you my love, my life, and my being. You are what keeps me breathing. This hearth of a fire. I'll be the coal to burn, to keep your fire going, because I love you more than words could ever say. The ugly heart. Still beautiful as ever, tracing steps in my mind, wishing things I should have done, letting memory leave me behind. I look at myself, and I hate what I see. I'm hoping when I finish this, that torment will let me be. The depression. Thoughts of suicide cross my mind, and I secretly hope that I will end, that I will overwork myself, that I will have a heart attack, that I will die from a lack of food, that my brain and body will give up and stop ticking over. I don't want to hurt anyone. I know I will if I end it myself, so I pray for little misfortunes to come my way. I wasn't meant to live. I think God made a mistake. I'm not good for this earth. My body is a waste. Okay, well, I am going to stop reading those poems. There is a lot more that I have written, and I think I will read more in another session. I understand that they are quite morbid and dark and disturbing, and I understand for some people that's not their cup of tea. It was an outlet to get a lot of things out of me, and I'm sure there's still a lot of issues, but I'm honestly not as sad as I was back then. But it is still interesting to read and listen to some of the poems that I wrote a very, very long time ago when I was dealing with many, many things. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, waddle over to the like button and slap the subscribe to become a hatchling. And I will see you all in a wingspan. And I will also see you when I make another one of these videos and read the rest of my poems for you. Bye bye.
I am counting on